Hello, I'm Malcolm Haslett.
You are, and I'm Janice Baker.
You are.
You are getting sleepy, sleepy, sleepy.
No, I'm not. What are you talking like that for?
I was just trying to get you ready to be hypnotised.
Really?
Well, yes. Because you know Isaac Lomman, he's been on our program before.
Yes, Isaac Lomman, he has.
Get you ready to be hypnotised by Isaac. Maybe. Did it work? It worked. Oh, he's under my control now.
No such luck. Isaac Lomman, welcome.
Hello.
Hi, Isaac.
Isaac, this is the second time you've been on, but the first time must have been 5 or something years ago.
I think so, yeah.
You're really more or less just starting off then, weren't you?
I think it was only in the first couple of years of me doing shows and getting out there with
And
all
the shows, of
stuff.
course, are...
comedy hypnosis shows, yes. So it's, changed over time as I've, been getting more experience and having more fun with it. So, yeah, all hypnosis shows.
Now, the truth is you tower over everybody because
Yes.
you're in the old measurements 6'5".
Yeah, 6'5", yeah.
Is that an advantage because you're an imposing figure?
I don't know. You'd have to ask some people that I've hypnotised before whether they think that might have scared them into a trance.
Yeah.
Do you know, I think they're so amused with themselves after the event that they wouldn't be thinking about you at all.
Yes, no, that's right. No,
Is the truth.
Indeed. Yeah, no, I guess the state of mind that is trance is so incredible. And if you've never had an experience with it before, it's something that you're not going to forget anytime soon. And it's
So what is it? What actually is it? How do you suck this out of somebody's head?
Yeah.
How do you get them to do what you ask?
Well, I think what I'm really doing is exciting that part of their mind that is to do with their focus and their imagination. And specifically the imagination part of it is like a childlike imagination. And also the way a hypnotist gets their suggestions in, I believe it's to do with the part of the mind where as children we would take suggestions on from parents and authority figures in the tribe, so to speak. Like we had to do that because it's life or death back in that time, in that age. And I feel like I'm peeling off that conscious, critical part of the mind which we grow into and we develop as we turn into adults and go through puberty and all that kind of stuff. I feel like I sort of peel that part back and we get them back to the childlike mind.
Okay.
And then they can create all these new beliefs in their mind.
Well, you do that when you're a child.
Yes, you do.
Yes.
Yeah, so children are basically in hypnosis 24/7.
If only. As you now have 2 young girls.
Yes, indeed.
So since we saw you last, you've got married and had 2 kids.
Yes, yeah, it's been
Have they got nice teeth like you?
They've got beautiful teeth, yes.
How old are they?
I've got a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old.
Oh,
and
how gorgeous.
What was really interesting with the second birth is my daughter Elodie, we actually did a hypnobirth. So I hypnotised my wife during labour, and
I hope that's not how the baby started.
she came out awake and ready to roll. But Danny, my wife, was in a trance throughout labour, and for us objectively, from the first one to the second one, she didn't need a epidural. So the pain relief for her was quite
Extraordinary,
measurable.
this, isn't it?
Yeah,
Wow.
It's incredible. Yeah.
So have you been out? No, I was going to say, has anybody asked you to come and help you with the childbirth? I was like, oh, you can come along to my wife's having a baby, you can come and help. No.
Well, what is fantastic about it is that hypnosis is becoming more of a mainstream thing. So there are heaps of midwives and doulas and all these other people in that industry already who are learning hypnobirthing, and it is a great tool for that whole thing.
I never thought we'd go in that direction.
Yeah.
in this chat. Because I'd love to know, Isaac, although I've known you for a while, I don't know how you got into this initially.
Yeah.
Were you a kid that was play acting with others and suddenly you realise, oh, what's happened? Or did you learn this in some other way?
Look, I wish I had that kind of a story. I've suddenly discovered superpowers and here I am putting people in trance. But actually, I was a young man with no real solid direction after high school. I didn't quite know where I was going, but I knew I was interested in business. I almost went to university in psychology. So then this guy came along into my life, into one of the startup communities in South Australia. And he talked about neuro-linguistic programming. And he said, it's like downloading information into people's brains or being able to communicate people really effectively. And so in my head, I thought sales, marketing, communication are all necessities in business. So I wanted to learn more, and I went and learned with this gentleman, and he taught me neurolinguistic programming, hypnotherapy, and another form of therapy, which is timeline therapy. So my first initial thing was, I guess the attraction was for sales and marketing. Then I learned hypnotherapy, so how to help people with this state of mind, and then from there it was like, okay, how do I let people know about this thing called hypnosis? Because to me, it had changed my life. I was only 19 or 20 when I learned, and I was like, this is such a powerful state of mind. Why aren't more people doing this? And
Actually, it's a very good point. Why aren't more people doing it?
yeah, well, we'll get to that. But
Okay.
from when I learned that, I thought, how do I tell all these people? And I thought stage shows would be a great idea just to market the whole therapy stuff and just to get
But
that
had
word
you
out.
done stage work before? Was this
No.
something that you'd had an interest? No.
So I'd done a little bit of drama in high school, and that's about it, really. I hadn't really done much acting or any play work or theatre work or anything like that. So this was all fairly new, but I thought, I've kind of had I felt comfortable with getting on stage. That was completely fine for me.
Yes.
So I learned stage hypnosis from there. I thought this right here, with everything's coming together in one little bundle, it was perfect.
What was your first one?
Yeah.
What was your first show?
Well, the first show I did was on the 2nd of February 2011, actually, and it was a fundraiser to raise money for the Queensland floods that year, which had happened in January.
Yeah.
And I was pretty much ready to go, but I wanted a fairly soft entry point, so I thought I'd just, even if the show was terrible, people have given their money not to me but to a good cause. So,
Yeah.
and it went pretty well. I mean, by today's standards, not so well, but it was fun and people enjoyed it. And
So,
away we went.
but obviously you've got to have a routine. You've got to think of the things you're going to ask people to do that's possible for them to do without embarrassing
Yes.
themselves.
Yeah.
So how did you work that out, or did you have help to say, well, these are some of the things that you should do?
Yeah, so a lot of my stage work came from online courses, books,
Okay.
and then just hypnotising and practicing on friends and people I worked with at the time. So
Did they see it as a jokey thing, or did they see it as a serious thing?
I think my closer friends probably were a little bit, hang on, what is this? What are you
Yeah,
doing now?
yeah.
What's this new fad he's into?
Yeah.
But people that I work with who didn't quite know me that well, and they just thought, oh, this is pretty cool, and they didn't think of it as much of a joke kind of thing. It was more of a, all right, let's try something new, let's try something cool and fascinating, and away we went. So great. Luckily for me, I got results with it very quickly, and had people going into trance very quickly, and then eliciting lots of different hypnotic phenomena. So they could, they came out of it and go, oh, I really couldn't lift up that, that footrest or whatever it was, and they were like, that is weird, because normally I can.
I think the best thing to do is see you in action.
Yes.
So we've got some footage here of you with...
Port Adelaide Football Club. This
Right.
one's from a little while ago now. This is about 5 years ago, but it certainly changed or elevated my whole career back then, and it was pretty fun.
Let's have a look. Love it.
Yes, how funny. So with regard to Chad Wingard being axed, did you have a premonition because he's just left the team?
Yeah, well, I mean, who knows? It's
5
footy.
years
I know, yeah.
I mean,
You might be able to tell the future.
yeah, I know. Some people think, oh, you're a hypnotist.
Quick,
You're
crystal
you
ball,
must be a
quick.
psychic. You must be able to
Yeah.
read my future. But no, I'm just a hypnotist. So.
Very
So now that this is really happening for you, you've just had yet again another very successful season with the Adelaide Fringe.
Yep.
So we're going to come back in a minute and we'll ask you a few more questions about that and the funny stories of things that have happened while you're in Full Sail.
Sounds good.
Our special guest is Isaac Lomman and we'll be back in a tick. We're back with Isaac Lomman.
We are.
We are.
Fascinating stuff. Really scary though at the same time. Because I don't. When you do your shows, do you just pick random people out of the audience and are they happy to participate or?
No, the way that I've always done it is volunteers only. So I will get the whole group or the whole crowd involved in some hypnotic games, suggestibility tests, just so that they can gauge where they're at on the suggestibility scale. And if they go, oh, actually that really worked for me, and I'll say, those people that this has worked on, come on and join me on stage. So they have to physically get up and walk up on stage. So no one
Can
gets
you-
picked out and forced up on
Can
stage.
you, without blowing your act, can you do one of those with us, the finger one?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, absolutely. This one is it's a staple of anytime I work with anybody, I always kick off with this. But all it is engaging your imagination, really. So all you'll need to do is follow my instructions. So place your feet flat on the floor and put your arms out straight like this. And interlace all of your fingers. Press your palms nice and tight and go to put your arms upright. Good, because in a moment I get you to put your 2 index fingers directly up like this, about 2 centimetres apart. And when you do that, just look directly between your 2 fingers and notice what happens. So go ahead and do that now. As you watch that space, they're going to come together and touch or by themselves. They've got 2 very powerful magnets. That's right. Imagine those magnets pulling those fingers quicker and tighter and faster and stronger. That's right. Good. All the way together now. That's the way. As you get closer and closer, as soon as they touch, your eyes will close easily and effortlessly. Now, that's right. With your fingers touching, go ahead and close your eyes, focusing on the sound of my voice. That's right. And imagine you've got the strongest, stickiest super glue seeping out of those fingertips, locking them, sticking them, tighter and stronger now. So strong, so stuck, so stiff and rigid that even if you were to try to pull them apart, they just lock and stick tighter and stronger, more powerfully stuck tight. Now, it is a crazy sensation. On the count of 3, it'll be gone. 1, 2, 3. Eyes wide open, fingers coming apart. Doing wonderfully there, Janice. I think you'd make a star up on stage with me.
That's scary.
Nothing happened.
Didn't your fingers, did they go together?
And
Mine
this
went
is-
pretty quickly.
They did. They went quickly and they stayed stuck, and that's what I look for in a good subject when
Don't tell her that it's all happened and she's going to do the dance of the
No,
7
don't tell me that.
veils in a minute.
Yeah.
No, don't tell her that.
You've forgotten the 30 minutes of hypnosis. That just gone by.
Now, that's not hypnosis in itself, is it?
It is the beginning. It is the
Okay.
beginning. So the first part isn't the second part.
Just want to warn people if they're at home.
Yeah, put
undo
your
the
fingers
super
apart.
glue. Stick it under warm water.
Yes, that's right. No, those people are at home, they won't be affected by that at all, no.
Okay.
But I'll bet you tried it.
Yeah, funny.
So, funny stories. What's happened to you? There must have been weird stuff at the beginning or recently.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many. This show, I could say the same suggestions and the same routines night after night,
Yeah.
and invariably someone with an incredible imagination comes up and just takes something left field. And I really should write them down
Yeah, you
because
should.
there's so many things that have happened that I have just been gobsmacked by.
Do you still record the shows so that people can see it?
I
after
do,
you-
yeah. I think that's an integral part of a hypnosis
Yeah.
show, and it's a good opportunity for people to have an experience and then be able to rewatch it again.
And be
Yeah.
safe and know that it was safe.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
exactly right. So,
Sorry, because you bill yourself as a family.
yes, a clean comedy show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Certainly up till this point. I've had some requests, but
All right.
no, so one of the things that happened to me early on, and this is probably very early on when I was still discovering just what this state of mind can achieve, and I had a routine where I say the word hypnosis and they smell a terrible smell and it gets worse and worse and worse. And I kept.
Is that you?
And I kept on saying hypnosis, and I was focused on one of the individuals, or one of the stars on stage, more than the rest. And all of a sudden, from behind me, one of them just threw up on the stage. And what is so interesting about this to me is that, one, I certainly didn't plan for this at all.
No.
Two, it was an imaginary stimulus in hypnosis. There was no real smell there, but their body responded as if there was.
Yeah.
And it was just, I think to the audience as well, they came up to me afterwards and said, I wasn't quite sure if I believed in this, but when that happened, that sealed the deal. And certainly, thankfully, I've edited the way that I run those suggestions, so that hasn't happened since.
Well, I'd hope not, only because usually when somebody vomits, you want to vomit too.
Yes.
And there is a smell.
Yes, that's right. And so thankfully, with the way that my show runs, I can just put them back into trance and give them suggestions that they feel fine and relaxed. And he certainly was. He was completely fine. And
Very embarrassed.
Yeah,
I would imagine.
not at all. No,
Well,
it was just.
now we've got another clip here of some other sports people.
Yeah.
And I guess these are fun to play with because we see them in a different light. They're public figures.
Yes.
And these things happening to them perhaps aren't as scary.
Yeah. Yes.
To them.
To them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Potentially. Yeah.
Because they want it to happen.
Yeah, well, yes and no. So I guess the public figures probably have a reputation to protect as well. So in that sense,
but you'd be conscious of that too.
Yes, I certainly do try to toe the line and make sure that we're all having fun, especially the stars. So that's definitely part of it.
So who are these? This is
the Adelaide 36ers. This was from last year in 2017.
Okay.
Sorry, 2018 it was. Yeah.
Let's have a look.
Now just person touching, whenever you hear a phone ringing, you believe that phone is yours, however it is coming from your shoe. You want to answer that shoe as quickly as you can. On the other end of the line is your absolute basketball idol. You can't wait to speak with them. That's right, locking that in place, going deeper down, getting that call. Lock it all the way in and all the way down and all the way down. Certainly.
Alan! It's Iverson! What's up, man? What's been going on? Oh, man, yeah. Oh, it's Iverson!
What's he saying? What's he saying?
I don't know. I'm too happy it's Iverson.
1, 2, wide awake. You all right with your shoe? Everything all right?
I guess it is really funny to see people like that making a fool of themselves.
Look, it's part of the human condition when you think about it. Isaac, I've got a serious question. Now, if somebody had some, let's call it not medical, but had some hypnosis for a specific reason, and they'd more or less learnt to put themselves into a relaxed state, a trance, if they came to somebody like you to see your show, would you piggyback on that? You wouldn't know it, of course, but would that affect the individual?
So the way that hypnosis works and the model that I understand of it now, and certainly this is, I guess, grown over the years I've been doing it, is that, hypnosis and trance, more specifically, is a part of the human condition. So we all access trance every single day, and we do it different ways. So it could be through meditation, through yoga, through daydreaming,
spa pool,
anything that you can, any activity that you can come to maybe an hour or so later and go, oh, where's all that time gone? That's trance, and hypnosis is just another form of that. So this is what when we talk about it moving into the, I guess, the mainstream, this is what's so great is you see all this mindfulness and meditation in schools. That's all exercising what I call the trance muscle in the mind, and you have to exercise it to get good at it. So if someone has learned how to do it or basically found the pathway to go into trance, then going into hypnosis is easier because they recognise that state of mind. So if they do meditation or yoga or daydream a lot, and they come to my show, chances are they are going to be really responsive and really receptive and come up on stage and be
But
really
it wouldn't affect the work that they did that for in the first place.
Oh no, not at all. No. So that stuff's very focused and very specific, and my show, the way that I run it, all of the suggestions that I give them on the stage get removed at the end, and it's all specifically about what's happened on stage.
We'll talk about that after this break. Hope nobody fell asleep. We're talking with Isaac Lomman. Isaac, we just briefly touched on that. After the show has almost completed, you basically bring everybody back, don't you?
Yes. So,
except there are a few post-show suggestions.
Yeah.
Do you still do that?
I do. I do still do what are called post-hypnotic suggestions. So after the session or after the show, where they'll be triggered by something. And my staple one is that they'll forget the show, they'll forget they've been on stage, they'll forget what's happened until they take a sip of their next beverage and all of their memories come flooding back all at once. So it's a great moment, especially because they're usually back out with their friends and they see them and they go, oh my, what have I just done? And it's a really, really wonderful moment. Yeah.
Fantastic.
So people can see or have been seeing you for the last couple of years with the Adelaide Fringe.
Yeah.
But now you're doing a bit of a country tour?
Yeah, so I did this in 2015 and I thought, well, it's been high time and probably time to do it again.
Yeah.
So I've started off a little bit already and just recently been to Port Lincoln and Whyalla and Roxby Downs and Port Augusta.
Right, this is here in South Australia.
Here in South Australia. And I plan to go to more South Australian regional venues in October. So that's all that information's on my website. And I will be back at Adelaide Fringe again. I'm hoping to be back at the Brisbane Wonderland Festival. And I'm really just setting up shows wherever I can.
Good for you.
And often people book me in for their fundraisers.
I've got to say, because
Wow.
I've followed your career for a while, and I think you're one of the best guys I've ever seen. So
Thank you.
If he comes anywhere near you, get out and see him if you can. Just a fun night out, and an unexpected fun night out, I think, is the best way to describe
I think people come in with a lot of misconceptions in the show and a lot of scepticism, and that's fine. I appreciate that people should be sceptical about this state of mind. And then they see it, and they see their friends and their family on stage, and they go, wow, this is something else.
It's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yes.
But it's time for us to leave you, so until next time, keep yourself nice.
Take care. See you then.
And thanks very much to Isaac. See you soon.
Bye.